Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm your host, Preston M. Smith. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm Preston M. Smith, at PMS Artwork everywhere on internet land and socials. I want to thank you for landing on this podcast. Whether you're a professional artist, just getting started in the art world, a collector of art, or just consider yourself a creative person, this podcast has something for you. I like to think of it as a fun way to rant and talk to other creative people about living the life of an artist, surviving and getting ahead in the art world, and enjoying your life. But most importantly, not waiting until you're dead to make it happen. All right, let's get started.
Hey, McConaughey, we had a meeting. What are you eating over there? Looks like you're eating garbage.
Well, hey there, little buddy. Sorry you caught me there on my lunch break, but I figured if I was going to be a true GOAT, greatest of all time, that means I thought I might as well get busy over here and do as the goats do and eat some trash.
I think that's a common misconception people have.
Well, hey, I'm going to just stop you right there, little buddy. I've seen the videos. You've seen the videos. Let me just finish up this tin can here. All right. It's making me feel better already. I just feel like I got to scream.
Oh, brother. The wheels are falling off already. Just start the podcast. You guys get the drift.
Welcome back to the podcast, everybody, and another episode in the Floorcast series where I am in between treatments here, and I don't know how large of a window I have here to be energetic enough to put out this podcast, so I'm going to get this out to you quickly. And what I'd like to talk to you about today is something that is kind of an old expression, but I think it's really relevant for today. It's very relevant for your art and for anybody who's creating anything in the world, anybody who's putting out anything in the world, even in a broader context, anybody who's putting out any sort of content, which might not even be creative, but just content in general. I think this is a very important concept, and that is garbage in, garbage out. Yes, you might have gathered that from the intro that we were going to be talking about something like that. But what does that mean? I think the best way to describe this in like a contemporary context is to give you a few examples of what I'm talking about. And one that's obvious is going to be with your health, right? For example, if you are trying to get well, if you are trying to lose weight, if you're trying to get over a disease or illness like I am, if you're trying to just boost your energy levels, anything you're going to be putting into your body, every calorie matters. And every calorie kind of has to fight for itself. And it really does matter down to like a mitochondrial level and to your cellular energy and cellular membranes level. If you're putting in McDonald's every day and expecting yourself to be like killing it in your day, having energy that sustains throughout your morning even, let alone your afternoon and evening, you're probably going to be sorely mistaken. Now, you can get away with some of this stuff when you're younger and your metabolism is going like crazy and you have all these hormones firing off like a well-oiled machine. But as you get older, it really matters. If you're putting garbage in, you're going to get garbage out. Your cells are not going to function. Your energy production is not going to function. You're going to clog up and muck up the works. Your arteries are going to get clogged. Your organs are going to start aging faster, and your energy production level is just going to go way down. So that's one example of garbage in, garbage out on kind of a more like societal, broader level. An example of this would be, consuming social media politics, for example, or just politics in general. If you are going home or staying home and you're watching an hour or two every night of bad political whatever it is, whatever you're slanting towards. If you're watching something that's bordering on propaganda, you're going to be getting a very different version of the world than what's actually happening. And that's going to be filling you up with anger and frustration and essentially kind of like a psychological garbage. And you might end up spewing that out. You might end up spewing that out to your friends. You might be spewing it out to people who you're talking to. If you're exposing yourself to that, if that's something you're doing all the time, then it has to come out in some ways. And it's going to be what you're going to be almost passionate about. So you're going to be spewing that out at dinner parties or conversations. You're going to be spewing it out on social media. That's where it's kind of the most widely seen nowadays, is you just have a lot of people screaming out into the ether about, some political madness that they're seeing or something that they're upset about, or, it doesn't matter nowadays if you're really getting it from a true source. It's just whatever you're seeing, whatever bubble you're in on social media or whatever, fringe network you're watching that's giving you your politics, you're going to be spewing that out into the world. And this is not a political podcast, and I'm not leaning towards anything when I'm talking about this, but I just want to put that out there as an example of garbage in, garbage out. So what does this mean on an artistic level, which is what this podcast is about, right? It is an artistic podcast after all. Well, garbage in and garbage out does show up in your work. It can't not. Whatever you are exposing yourself to is going to come out in your subconscious. It's going to come out in your artistic productivity in the studio or wherever you're working. It's just going to come out. It can't not, because if that's what's going on in you, if that's what you're exposing yourself to is garbage on any level, I'm not talking about politics here. It can be politics. It can be social media. It can be, a group of friends that you're surrounding yourself with that are not very motivational or supportive or just are very negative all the time. It can be that. It can be, your family. It can be, you're spending 3 hours on the freeway having people cutting you off all the time and flipping you off, and you're getting upset. You're having road rage and you're bottling that up. All these things do come out in our art, right? And yes, we can use negative stuff or quote unquote garbage to our advantage and put that into our work as like a social commentary if we want. But, we have to be careful of what we expose ourselves to. And the more high quality content and elements in our lives that we're exposing ourselves to, the higher quality our art is. I really believe that. Like when I was coming up in the art world, I watched, TV and movies and stuff like that, just like everybody else. But I exposed myself to books, and I exposed myself to documentaries, and, I printed up the AFI top 100 list and I just started chipping away at those, when I was younger, just to kind of like feed my mind. And I exposed myself to poetry that I liked and, people that were controversial, and, it really fed into my art, and it builds your capacity to think deeper and to come up with better ideas when you're putting your art out there. So that's something that I think is really important. And it's something that I want you to kind of take home and think about, or, just think about wherever you are. Think about it now. What are you exposing yourself to that could be either adding to your art or could be detracting from your art? Are you exposing yourself to garbage more time than you're exposing yourself to things that are like feeding you in a positive and creative way? Because I think a lot of people nowadays are. And I think it reflects in our art. And I think the more things that we consciously expose ourselves to, better art, for example, if you're going to galleries, if you're going to gallery shows, I remember going to gallery shows when I was able to. Going to gallery shows, going to museums, going to expose yourself to exhibitions or, musical events or pop-up shows or whatever, poetry readings. I don't know. Do they still do poetry readings? I'm sure they do. Exposing yourselves to things that are a little bit more of value, that can fill you up and can give you good inspiration that you can come home and then turn into your own version of something creative filtered through you. Like when I went to, some of these, like the Tokyo Museum of Modern Art, for example, that was one of the first times I really got exposed to Miro and some people that I hadn't really been exposed to in person at the time. And I was in my early 20s. I think I was 21. And man, it still to this day has carried on and inspired me to do, bigger and better and more impactful artwork. So I would encourage you to kind of do a little bit of a taking stock of your day and of the things that you're putting into your lives. And yes, that is also putting into your bodies. If you're putting garbage into your body, if you're putting non-nutrient dense food or food that's filled with glyphosate and pesticides or food that just is, ultra processed and has no nutritional or mineral value, you are going to be suffering from a creative standpoint too. You might not see it. If you're young, especially, you might not see it right away, but it does detract from your mental capacity and your creative capacity. So yes, on a very fundamental level, be aware of what you're putting into your body. Be aware of, the air you're breathing and the exposure to toxins you're getting and, the exposure to negative things on social media and in the media and politics. All of those things can detract from your ability to be an energetic and a conscious and a creative person. So I think all of these things really matter. That's why I try to go a little bit deeper than just like talking about doing art and the process of doing art all the time, because that's something that you are going to figure out for yourselves in the studio, in the lab, as we say. But I think these things really are a little bit more esoteric, and they're a little bit more or a little bit less talked about in, other forums and other podcasts and stuff, because I really do believe if you're working on yourself, if you're working on every aspect of yourself, what you're consuming from a content standpoint, from a food standpoint, from a water standpoint, from a toxin standpoint, and from, yes, a creative standpoint, what other art are you looking at? Who are you following that inspires you on social media? Who are you following on other platforms? Like, who are you seeing in live shows in person? Who are you watching on documentaries? What are you doing to fill up your creative well and to give you a good source of inspiration on a daily basis or weekly basis, at least? I think it's really important for us to take stock of these things in our own lives so we can be better people and obviously better artists. So I'm going to leave it at that for today. Yeah, I'm going to get back to some treatments. My voice is definitely struggling right now. So thanks for bearing with me. And I hope that you're doing well. I hope you are filling up your life and world and body with, nutrient dense food and media and content and art so you can be a better artist and a better person in everything you do. So that's it, everybody. Take care of yourselves, take care of everybody else in your lives, and we will see you next time on the next episode. All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Let it go, y'all.
All right, that's it. I'm done. Oh, brother, good grief. Who writes this shit? Catch all the flip-flop. Keep it crisp, cool, and refreshing. I don't know what I'm saying. Just cut me off with the music. Oh, there we go. Whatever.
This has been the Living Artist Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I just want you to know that I appreciate you being here, and I'm grateful to be in your ears. Your art and creative life on this planet is meaningful, so thank you for sharing it with me. If you like this podcast, whatever platform you're listening to it on, please subscribe and share it with your friends. You can also leave me a positive review to show your support. This helps me to reach more people with the algorithmic magic and keep the show going strong. If you want to see more of what I do and check out the art that I create, you can visit my website at www.pmsartwork.com or follow me on social media everywhere at PMS Artwork. That's it for now. See you back here next time.